Hey and welcome to the MX-5 guide on Limebrook Park GP in iRacing. This track is easy to learn, difficult to master, and the races here are extremely tight. You will see very tight quali sessions with up to 5, 6, 7, 8 cars who qualify within the 10, so make sure you practice this track and you are ready before you hop into your first race. You can practice against my lab files, they are uploaded to the community Discord, which is linked in the description down below. And you can also find me streaming on Twitch or book me for coaching. All details are linked in the description as well. Our first stop is on the main straight, because the braking zone into turn 1 is pretty much the only spot where you can attack if you want to gain a position. All you need to keep in mind here is to stick to the left edge of the track when you are safe and want to go for a quick lap, and stick to the right edge of the track if you want to attack or defend your position. When you reach the 200 meter board, you want to point the car towards the inside curb and step on the brakes. Pointing the car towards the inside curb before we step on the brakes gives us a nice straight path which we can use to reduce most of our speed. This straight path is important because the rear of the car can get really twitchy, and braking in a straight path allows us to be a bit more aggressive on the brakes and carry more speed deeper into the braking zone and closer to the apex of the turn. As we reach the curb, we want to slow the car down further as we drive deeper into the turn. A simple trick allows us to do it in a steady and consistent way. We will use the engine brake. To do so, you want to manually blip the throttle and shift into second gear. A manual blip simply means that you step on the throttle for a split second while you are shifting down. In this scenario, the manual blip is the key which allows us to shift down in the first place, because otherwise the engine and the track speed wouldn't line up and the gearbox wouldn't allow you to shift down. You would need to wait until the car decelerates further, and only then you would be able to shift down, but then we couldn't make use of the engine brake, and that's why you need to blip. So simply blip, shift down into second gear, and wait as the engine steadily slows your car down. Let the car swing to the center of the track and then slowly add throttle input as you lead it back to the inside of the turn. This spot gives you great feedback about your line, because you want to attack the curb with 2 wheels and you want to be fully back on the throttle. When you are not touching the curb or not going flat out, then you should definitely check out your replay and see where you can improve. Stay in second gear, drive to the right edge of the track, and then gently tap the brakes as you decelerate into the next turn. We want to exit this turn on the inside, that's why we are aiming for a really wide entry and a late apex. Let the car swing to the center of the track again, and then, like before, you want to slowly add throttle input as you lead it back to the inside of the turn. Like in the exit of turn 1, we want to clip the curb here with 2 wheels and go flat out as we keep pushing the car to the left edge of the track. That's important, and soon you will know why. Stick to the left edge of the track, because then and only then you can take the upcoming right-hander flat out. When you exit on the right or in the middle of the track, you will need to lift a brake, which will cost you about 2 or 3 tenths on the upcoming straight. But when you exit here on the left edge of the track, you will be able to carry all your speed onto the straight and pass your opponents. Stay on the throttle, and while you can clip the curb here, I wouldn't advise you to attack it because it can unsettle your rear. Use the tree for orientation and engage the brakes before you reach it. You want to let the car swing to the left edge of the track onto the curb to get a wider angle for the entry. We are heading onto a straight which pretty much leads us all the way down to the finish line, and that's why you want to be as early on the throttle as possible. As you can see it on the bottom left, I'm already back on the throttle before I reach the curb. The curb is a bit more forgiving than it used to be in the past seasons, but it's still a 50-50 whether it will damage your suspension or not. That's why I would advise you to drive around it and simply aim for a clean line through the whole chicane. We are heading into the final section, and your goal here is to lose as little momentum as possible. To make this turn, you want to lift briefly before you turn in and aim for a tight line. Aim for a tight line along the curb and don't attack it. If you go over it, it will unsettle your car and cost you speed. Use all available space on the exits and don't be afraid to clip the grass. In most cases you won't even receive an incident point for it, so just stay on the throttle and keep pushing. In the last turn you want to drop your throttle input by at least 50% to make sure that you can carry as much of your speed as possible towards the finish line. Avoid the curb again and aim for a clean and tight line around it. That was the guide. The Cockpit Lap is coming up next. Thanks for watching, please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. I wish you all the best for the next week and see you next time!